It's a new year and a new GT4 series to follow on from GT3. Division 3-1 starts with new entrants Gui and Esme. Toxic dives down the inside of his teammate Beanop. Mooch bumps him, he bumps Beanop off the course. Beanop tries to re-enter but clashes with Edin Creville and spins. GT Sport has been forcing its own contact penalties and Beanop is thrice waylaid. Mooch got the same treatment. The ESGT solution is to let drivers ignore those penalties. The marshals decide themselves what penalties are applicable. Gui and Esme were way ahead of the rest even in the first lap, and so close together as well. On lap 2, Hunty fell foul of the gravel, but things escalated when Mr. Person spun, Audriolan swept in out of hyperspace, everyone else desperate to avoid them. Audriolan got back on track just in time to obstruct his teammate Beanop, who by now must have been beside himself. In anger or laughter, only he knows. Ed led Hunty and Mooch in the midfield, the three of them very close through Hawthorns and Winfield. Mooch had a look up the inside, tried to slip past Hunty, who fought back, and went off. Mooch pulls it off and claims 7th. Deeper into the base, the ERS team provides more spectacle, with Mr. Person getting past Drunk Ninja at Druids. Ninja thinks about taking it back, but Mr. Person just gets ahead in time for the following left-hander. Meanwhile, Esme and Gui are just as close as ever, positionally speaking, and for lap after lap Esme is putting pressure on, looking for an opening, trying to find a chink in Gui's armour. They catch up to Mooch, who lets them both past, no opportunity for either of them to take advantage. At the end of lap 11, Gui went in for a pit stop, getting an undercut advantage but now limited in pace for the second stint. He got out of the pits a little behind Stag, passing him in time for Esme's pit stop, which was on lap 13. All this time, Esme had used Gui's slipstream to save fuel. Gui was now leading the race, but between the devil and the deep blue sea. Push too hard, he's out of fuel, take it easy and he'll be caught. On lap 17, Esme caught back up, and Gui was showing some signs of cracking under the pressure. Esme played every trick in the book to get past. He got a good exit from Surtees. Gui was a little wobbly. They went in side by side around Hawthorns. Esme very nearly lost it, but just held on. Now Esme was able to pull away little by little, nothing Gui could do but watch. On the penultimate lap, Esme found two back markers, Mooch and Edin Creville. Ed was having a bad race but was under absolute obligation to let front runners pass. Instead, he knocked Esme sideways, the latter sharp enough to keep it together, having to hold back for his own safety. He still crossed the line well ahead of Gui, with Stag coming third. It was a standing start for Searsan and Little Mac, and Tony Dragow edged past Beatitis, who went wide. Not a biggie, but his re-entry caused a pile-up and wiped out Playlister. The front runners got away and Tony was in a one-racing sandwich. Prozac fell back and was tested by VC Most. It went badly and Prozac dropped to 7th. VC Most and Vlive fought for 3rd, the Porsche and Ferrari both being very well handling cars, important for this circuit. VC was able to hold on to his position, but only just, as Vlive made a few errors and was pounced upon by German newcomer LPL. Very similar colours on the cars, but not in the same team. Vlive got back to 4th, and just behind Prozac was fending off Barbosa from Team PTX. Barbosa took the inside line for Paddock Hill, but braked too late and ploughed into the gravel. Out in front, Tony and Bruno were neck and neck until Bruno came into pit on lap 9 to replace a worn-out front left tyre. Tony came in the very next lap with the very same problem, but he also took more fuel on. VC Most was now in the lead, with Bruno close behind. With much fresher tyres, Bruno was all over him, and at Pilgrim's Drop he pulled alongside. Contact. They scraped paint off each other until Bruno caught the grass and snapped around the inside. After taking a pit stop of his own, VC crucially underestimated the grass verge at Clark Curve and nosedived into the wall. He lost enough time for Little Mac to swoop right past him, but at least that gave VC something to chase in a battle for 3rd place. And of course Bruno had to come in for a second stop, not having refuelled earlier. It gave Tony a clear run for the lead, a good lead too, but with worn-out tyres, Tony was in Bruno's sights, and by lap 19 the pressure was on. This time, Bruno had the advantage, his two-stop strategy appearing to pay off. Up the inside on Clark Curve to lap 20, and nicely completing the manoeuvre down the treacherous paddock hill. Not bad going at all. Further back, Prozac had made it all the way up to 4th past VC Most, but the erstwhile Mexican hadn't given up. One mistake from Prozac, and VC shot past. Bruno, his two-stop strategy having paid off, finished first, with Tony second and Littleac third. In Division 2, it was a brilliant start for Ethan, who charged down the inside of Holman, who tried to defend but it backfired and Ethan hugged the inner curb around Druids. The two cars bumped again on the exit, with Holman on the inside this time. Fives and Toshotruda went toe-to-toe in lap 3, and Tokyo led a battle for 8th with Neutron, Mop and Barrels. And up ahead, Ethan was tripped up by Sheen Curve and went wide, but very neatly re-entered without wiping out his teammate DJ. It wasn't a good day for him, going wide at Clark Curve and dropping behind JL. A lap later, he was still following JL and fouled up at Paddock Hill, his hopes of victory now shattered. Tokyo had now led his band of rivals up to 6th place, but misjudged Surtees and cut a course through the grit, Fernando taking his place. JL and DJ, like two peas in a pod, competing for second, and Toshotruda led the fight for 4th. Holman was able to pit on lap 12 through a one-stop strategy, as were JL, Toshotruda and Fives, whereas DJ pitted on lap 11 and was under real pressure to make his tyres last the distance. In the midfield, Fernando had lost position during his pit stop and was making moves to work his way back up the field, but not with immediate results. Toshotruda was alone and hoping to catch up with DJ, but even on fresh tyres, mucked up at Hawthorns and spun out of control, watching helplessly as Fives zoomed by. Fernando overexerted himself and slipped up almost exactly as Ethan had, and both in the understeering Jaguar. Toshotruda was also caught out but kept it together this time, and Fernando was down to 9th place. With only 4 laps to go, Holman was over 10 seconds ahead, with JL second and DJ third. The race was cut short by a catastrophic network failure. Lam and Darkrai had the front row for Phoenix, but previous champion Nova and his VLX teammate Huezo snuck up the inside of Darkrai. After almost 2 laps of trying to pass Huezo, Darkrai nudged him aside and the game issued a contact penalty to Huezo, who misread the regulations and dropped down to the back of the field. There was more bad luck for VLX when Nova locked up into Surtees and lost control of the tail-happy BMW and found himself as a backmarker. A 4-way fight for 7th developed, with Judoka, Ismadilik, Huezo and X11. Judoka lost ground as Ismadilik messed up at Druids and Huezo got a very bad exit. This allowed Nova to catch up with the field, and with the cooperation of Huezo, he was able to get up to 9th place for lap 6. During the first round of pit stops, Nova got all the way up to 3rd, narrowly surviving a tap from Dr. LJ, just holding on. GT Sport decided that it was his fault. Of course it did. Dr. LJ was also overtaken by Darkrai, who pitted early and was on fresh tyres. Lam came in at the halfway point, no need to refuel, and far ahead of the competition. Things livened up in the midfield when Huezo caught the gravel and pirouetted across the track, which incidentally gave his teammate Nova the advantage on Bonjour's Storm. But now Huezo was stuck behind the kinetic drivers. And then another slip-up, this time Fullness skidding around Sheen, only just keeping it together but needing to come in for new tyres. Judoka was putting the pressure on to Storm and Ismadilik, but whereas Ismadilik nicely outmanoeuvred Storm, Judoka got too impatient and made a pig's breakfast out of Druid's hairpin, only just keeping it together. Up ahead, Nova was leading the battle for 4th, with Dr. LJ and Autista in hot pursuit. And in the lead, almost a full mile ahead of the rest, Lam was flying high, a little too high, and got burned by it, grazing the gravel at Westfield and sliding about till he hit the wall. Still far ahead of the others, he made his way to the home straight and then dove into the pits. Now, he said it was a moment of shame, but at the time it looked a bit like showing off. Darkrai finished second, with last season's 11th hour star single filer coming third. Right, here are the results tables, accounting for any penalties given by marshals. On the left here we can see Division 1. Lamb got the extra point for setting pole, good stuff from single filer, and a nice mix of teams and nationalities. Holman moves up from Division 2, where it's almost all American or Portuguese drivers, and in both divisions it's Phoenix at or near the top. Division 3, Ethan joins them after a DNF. A bad race perhaps, but he's done himself no favours by giving up. Great results from the new GT3 racing team, even if they're in GT4 cars. Looking at the rest of them, it's a nice combination of new and returning drivers, all looking to show what they're made of in this GT4 series. Thank you all for watching. Look out for round 2 in a couple of weeks as the championship takes us to the sandy hills of Laguna Seca, California. Take care everyone.